Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and Juma Mubarak. I pray as you receive this message that you and your family are in the best of spirits, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and financially. This is your Friday reminder. People talk about challenges. We talk about being tested. But oftentimes you have to understand that in the blink of an eye, a test can change your whole perspective about how you live, how you look at people, how you live your life. It was so for me back in 1997. I left Milwaukee, Wisconsin with this idea that I was going to be an amazing top flight comedian. This is before Muslim comedy. That was 6 years later. But I was a Muslim comedian who was a Muslim trying to practice and do stand up in these clubs. And I decided to strike out to Hollywood. And I was driving, listening to all the inspirational songs. McFadden, Whitehead, Ain't No Stopping Us Now. George Benson sings this song called On Broadway about a guy going to the industry to prove that he's a star, that he's the winner. And I was driving and feeling emancipated from leaving Milwaukee because, I was kind of ostracized for being a comedian in some of the communities in Milwaukee. But that was pursuing my dream, going down 70, headed towards Colorado, Denver. And I was driving, brothers and sisters, feeling good. And in the blink of an eye, my whole perspective changed. It snowed that morning, and I found out that in the state of Colorado, they don't use salt on ice. They use sand. And I was driving my Isuzu Trooper. It was a money green Trooper. It was a bad Trooper, boy. And I was driving, and I got up on a block of ice and realized that I wasn't in control of the wheel, that the wheels were running, but they weren't contact on the pavement, if you will. And the car began to speed up, and you can understand it started twisting. And you know that when it got perpendicular to the road, what was going to happen. So I did what any guy would do about to have a major wreck. I turned the radio up, right? And it turned, and when it hit, it just flipped a couple of times, and it wound up into a ditch, and it burrowed into the ground. And there I was upside down looking at the windshield, which was black. Also, I had my eyes closed, so I'm thinking I might be dead, so I don't want to open my eyes and find out too soon. I heard some guys on the side of the car, and I heard the conversation. Oh, this is a bad accident. You think he's dead? And I heard the voices, and I yelled out, "Hey, leave me alone. I'm having a moment." And eventually, I got myself out of the back seat of the car, and I realized my whole dream of being a comedian was seriously having to be adjusted. And what I learned was in challenges, you have to understand that time is not your own, that you need things like prayer and devotional understanding of events around you, even when you don't understand the events around you. So in this space, it was funny because all my possessions were spread out over Route 70. It was snowing, snowing my hat, snowing my glasses. And something said, man, get the things that are important. Get the things that are important, because I couldn't take everything because I no longer had a car. And I looked around and I thought about the things that are important. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I pulled a shirt here, pants here, and there it was in the snow. And I took it and I brushed it off, and it was my prayer rug. And while the cop was trying to ask me questions, I said, just give me a minute. I laid out my prayer rug on the side of 70, figured out which way was Qibla, and I prayed. And when I got up, I had a sense of relief. And the police officer he was trying to give me a ticket. He was trying to say I was speeding. I never got the ticket. But it was interesting that when I got up off that rug, that a challenge had been met. And that challenge was to see things simply, to appreciate life. And the cop tried to tell me, you could have been killed out here. I said, yeah, but I could have found another understanding of life out here too. Many of us, when we go through challenges, we look for the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes there is no light. Sometimes darkness is where you're going to have to find the appreciation for light. And just the same as me having to flip that car over and lose all of my possessions in Colorado, of all places, you know the story that I came out of it okay. People tell me I'm still a pretty good comedian. I made my way to LA. And eventually, That challenge led to Allah Made Me Funny. The challenge of leaving Milwaukee, an ostracized comedian, and being able to have something like Allah Made Me Funny and inspire other Muslim comedians and non-Muslim comedians to look at this thing that we call life and Allah and appreciate it and love it and take possession of it. People don't like to take possession of hardships and challenges. They don't want it. They're having good times. They don't see bad times. But the beauty of a challenge, brothers and sisters, is when it comes, it's not on your calendar. There's no Calendly. There's no Google Calendar or no iCal, anything like that. It is the understanding that life happens. And the only thing other than life happenings is understanding who gave you life, who gave you an opportunity. So just for today, brothers and sisters, for this little Friday reminder, smile. Give thanks to Allah that you can smile. May Allah always put it in our hearts that the relief for all the challenges, the dysfunction, the irony, the bad feelings, people being in their feelings, is that we have the ability to smile, to crease our lips in a way that removes stress. And increasing your lips in a way that removes stress allows you to speak words to power. Speak your truth. Live your life. Understand challenges happen along the way. And every once in a while, when it gets bad, it gets hectic, sometimes you just got to go for the simple things. Every once in a while, you got to brush that snow or dust in some regards off that prayer rug, lay it down, and give thanks. That's it for your Sharp Friday reminder. Like I said, may Allah continue to put in our hearts the ability to look at challenges and smile. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Remember, Allah is God. Have a blessed weekend.